Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Matt, I am the American-Canadian Gamer, and today I want to give you my thoughts on Titanfall. Now, I wanted to do this video a bit earlier during the beta, but I decided that I would take a step back and kind of meditate on the game a little bit before really giving my thoughts on it. I decided I would take a step back and think about the mechanics, think about my experience during the beta, and do a little more research. And after doing that, after looking at the game more objectively, and not hopping on the hype train, reading articles, reading interviews, and really looking at the game from a much more objective standpoint, I've come to the realization that I have not been this excited for a game in general for a very, very, very long time. From both an objective and a subjective standpoint, I can't remember the last time I was this excited. And it really took me back to an era before I really utilized the internet in my daily life. Because when I was a kid, we didn't really have internet until I was maybe in my early teens, and I didn't really even use it much then. But back then, all I had access to for my gaming news was Nintendo Power. That's all I had. And when they would announce a new game, specifically something like Metroid Prime, I would get all excited about it. I was like, I need this, I want this. I didn't get on the internet and read interviews. I didn't get on the internet and look at the mechanics. I wasn't as cynical back then as I am for gaming now. And Titanfall has brought that feeling back to me. That feeling of wonder, of awe, that feeling of this is going to be awesome, give it to me now, I want it, I want it, I want it. That's what this game has done for me. And there's multiple reasons why that has happened. But if I were to pinpoint the one main thing that this game has done that I love above everything else, is the immense amount of mobility that it gives you. That is something that I have been missing in modern shooters. I mean, I love Quake. I love Team Fortress 2 being able to double jump as a scout and rocket jump as a soldier. I love being able to move fast and really have a lot of control over where I'm going and turn the map into a playground, not just a shooting gallery. Which, that's happened with a lot of modern shooters. A lot of modern shooters, the map isn't really a map. It's not a place where you play. It's not a playground. It kind of is a little bit in Halo, but in something like, you know, Call of Duty, the Medal of Honor series, Battlefield, the map isn't really there to serve a purpose other than to maybe give you a few points to fight over and to just look nice. You know, there's not really a major point to the maps as there used to be. You know, when you look at older games, Quake, Unreal, you look at the maps for those games, and they have a very specific design towards you put certain things in certain areas, and the map flows a very specific way. And you have the mobility to take advantage of the map. And I think Titanfall has hit a very, very good kind of halfway point between a classic arena map and a modern, quote-unquote, realistic map, where the map is definitely not as arena-styled as the maps of old, but the movement and mobility that you have allow you to make the map into a playground, being able to easily go from the ground to roof level, through buildings, double jumping, jetpacking, wall running. The map is a playground again. I have missed that so much, where the map is an integral part of the game, and it's no longer about this is a power position and this is an area that you want to hold, this is a good sightline. It's like, I can just run on walls, I can jump off one wall onto a roof, double jump off of that through a window, and kick a guy in the face, and you just don't see that. And that is something that it gets me very fanboyish. I'm not gonna lie, I am really like, oh, I want this so bad, just because of the mobility. Just because of the mobility, you're so fast, and it's such a contrast to what we've seen with modern shooters, where you're this kind of slow, lumbering, quote-unquote, realistic soldier, and I know what they're going for there, but that's not fun to me. Fun to me is mobility, it's movement, it's speed, it's visceral. That's what I find fun, and that's what Titanfall gives. And Titanfall's kind of hit a lot of halfway points between classic games and modern games. The weapons are much more lethal like a modern shooter. They're not as weak. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. The weapons of a classic game weren't weak, but the players were much more bullet spongy. Players aren't bullet spongy in Titanfall. Not at all. They're more bullet spongy than like Call of Duty. Like Call of Duty, you know, 3 to 5 rounds with pretty much every gun will kill somebody. In Titanfall, it feels more like, you know, 6 to 10 rounds, at least with the weapons that we had in the beta. The weapons aren't nearly as lethal as they are in Call of Duty, but they're still much more powerful than something from like Quake or Unreal. At least when it comes to machine guns and non-specialty weapons. But having that lethality and that speed makes the game feel so visceral that it's just satisfying to play. There's so much punch in what you're doing. There's so much speed. You have so much control over everything you can do. And I guess maybe it's just for me, it's taking everything that I love about the shooter genre and it's throwing it all together. You have these armor abilities, which I've loved armor abilities in Halo. I love the gadget concept in Gotham City Imposters. I love that aspect of giving you kind of a power, this extra leg to stand on that you can fall back on. And they only had 2 of them in the beta, the cloak and the stim pack, but I still really, really liked having those 2 there, and I can't wait to see what other options they expand upon in the full game's release. They just give you so many awesome tools to play with. I'm excited to see what kind of technology they're going to have. I'm excited to see, you know, how the different Titan loadouts work. I'm really excited to see everything, and excited is the word that I'm probably going to use the most when I describe my feelings for this game, because like I said, I cannot remember the last time a game took me back to that era when gaming was this wide-eyed, amazing thing that just filled me with wonder and happiness, and Titanfall's brought me back to that. I feel like a kid again in that aspect, in all the great ways. I'm not looking at this game in the way that I cynically have in shooters and other games of recent times. I'm not looking at it and thinking, oh, that's fun, but how is this mechanic going to work? Oh, I don't like that. And I'm not looking at it in that way. I'm looking at it and going, oh, that's awesome. Give it to me now. And everything about this game has made me think that so much. And okay, I'm gonna try and, you know, step back a little bit. I'm kind of getting really like, oh, fanboy on this thing. So let's talk a little bit about some other things that really I like about the game. And the kick is one thing. I like the kick. It's much better than just pulling a knife out of nowhere. I do like the kick as a melee attack. The Titans are a really interesting aspect. I really like how the Titans affect the maps, how they give this extra dimension to the gameplay to where you're not just fighting other people, you have this whole other level of gameplay inside the game. You have this other meta game going on. You have the pilot on pilot, the Titan on Titan, and the Titan on pilot gameplay all happening simultaneously with the AI also doing their thing. And the AI is not really all that good, but there are specters that do shoot rocket launchers, and, you know, they can cause problems for you. But you can farm them for points. You know, they're creeps, they're minions, they're like creeps in League of Legends or whatever. Minions, I don't play League, but they serve the same purpose. You farm them to get your Titan a little bit quicker, and you have this whole metagame that we've never seen before. You know, everybody gets their own personal Titan. We've seen mechs and shooters. We've seen them in Battlefield 2142. We've seen them in other games. But they're such an integral part to this game. Everybody gets their own personal Titan that they can call in. It really gives the game such a different meta aspect. And this is not Call of Duty with mechs. Like, a lot of people are like, it's just COD with mechs, it's just COD with mechs. And if they weren't saying, if this wasn't being made by Respawn Entertainment, people wouldn't be saying that. But this game is not Call of Duty with mechs. You can definitely feel where the experience from making Call of Duty has come into it, particularly with the weapons, how the weapons feel, how they handle. But there is so much more to the game. Like I said before, the mobility, and then you have the Titan aspect. There is a lot going on with this game, and I understand now why it was limited to 6 players on 6 players. If there were more players in this game, I feel like it would be too cluttered. The 6 on 6 makes a lot more sense to me after playing the game, and that was probably the one thing that I wasn't excited about, because it does make it kind of pointless to give players, you know, control over servers when only 12 people could be in it total. But I really understand why it is 6v6. And it really works for the game. It really fits it well because the maps aren't small. I thought, oh, it's going to be 6 people. The maps will be small with some big areas to let the Titans move. But because the players have so much mobility and the Titans have so much mobility, which the Titans are freaking fast. Those things, they are not slow. Because of all that mobility, the maps are so much bigger than what we're used to seeing. They're not as big as like something like Battlefield, although actually, you know, I take that back. They might be as big as Battlefield maps. Battlefield maps, I don't know. I don't know how to compare them. I don't have a way to do that right now. I would actually say, yeah, Titanfall maps probably are, you know, comparable in size to a Battlefield map. And they have fewer players, but you have so much mobility that you just cross the maps so quickly. And I'm glad to see those very large maps. I'm glad to see how the gameplay is working out with the mobility, the lethality. Everything that I've loved about shooters in the past years is culminating together in this game. And maybe that's why I'm loving it so much, is because there's things I've been wanting in shooters. You know, mainly the mobility is the one thing I have been wanting. I guess I can't really stress that enough. And now we're getting it. We're getting everything that I've loved about shooters and wanted in shooters. And I could go on more and more about this game, but I'm going to stop now. I fanboyed out enough. I'm out of footage at this point anyways. And I really hope that you enjoyed this and didn't find it too, yay, I'm a fanboy-ish kind of setup. But I'm excited for this game. I think it's going to be worth a shot. So, as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Hope I'm out of footage. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Matt, and I'll see you next time.